Om Sarvadharma Sthapakatvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Namaste, Pranam. Sri Ramakrishna teaching us that Satchidananda is the only Guru. He was asked by the Brahmo devotee that question, that is spiritual knowledge impossible without a Guru? Now, Brahmos, they are opposed to the traditional Guru Shishya Parampara, the Guru and disciple tradition, which is held fast by the traditional Orthodox Hindus. So, Sri Ramakrishna said, answering to this query, that is spiritual knowledge impossible without a Guru. Sri Ramakrishna says Satchidananda is the only Guru. Even if a Guru in the form of a human being comes and awakens your spiritual consciousness, know for certain that it is the Satchidananda, it is the God Absolute who has assumed this human form, who has taken up this human form for your sake. For your sake, this person has come to you as your Guru, and he has awakened, he or she, they have awakened the spiritual consciousness in you. So the Guru who awakens spiritual consciousness is the representative of the Satchidananda, of the God Absolute. Otherwise, there are gurus, in hundreds and thousands you will find this person, teaching you, this person teaching you that, another person saying you, telling you something, you do it this way. But is your spiritual consciousness really getting awakened by those words of the human teacher? If it is getting awakened, then Sri Ramakrishna says, know for sure that that Guru, that teacher is the representation of the Satchidananda. The Satchidananda Brahman, the God Absolute, has assumed that human form to awaken your spiritual consciousness. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, once the spiritual aspirant starts progressing on the spiritual path and attains to the stage of God realization, then this particular differentiation between the Guru and the disciple also vanishes. Then who is Guru, who is disciple? Once the disciple attains the Brahman, Brahma Jnana, once he becomes one with the Brahman, then all the duality ceases. And then there is no Guru, there is no Shishya. And then Sri Ramakrishna had given that very funny incident in the lives of Janaka and Shukadeva, when Shukadeva had gone to Janaka to requesting him to be his Guru to teach him how to attain the Brahma Jnana. Janaka told him, first you give me my fees, your Guru Dakshina, you first give me my Guru Dakshina, and then I will teach you. Why? Because once you attain Brahma Jnana, you will forget who is Janaka. For you, Janaka will cease to exist. Your Guru will cease to exist. Or better, you give that Guru Dakshina right in advance, so that after realization, you are on your own. You are merged with the Brahman. You and me become one. Then I keep my Guru Dakshina with me. So that was how Sri Ramakrishna's teachings to the Brahmos, and once again signifying that the relationship between them, between the Guru and the disciple, remains as long as the disciple has not seen God. Once he sees God, that relationship is over. Then the Guru and Shishya, they become one, because both of them, they are part and parcel of that indivisible Satchidananda Brahman, the formless, the Nirguna Nirakara Brahman. Now, it is time for their evening service. Now, since this was semi-annual celebrations of the Brahmo Samaj, after these talks and teachings from Sri Ramakrishna, then there was time for the evening service. And so Brahmo devotees, they thought that possibly, Sri Ramakrishna was still performing the traditional evening services like Sandhya and Puja, Archana. So they asked him, perhaps it is time for your evening devotions? And then Sri Ramakrishna says, no, no, nothing like that. It isn't exactly that. One should pass through these disciplines in the beginning, Sri Ramakrishna says, in the beginning of the spiritual journey, when you have just, as a novice, when you have just started walking on the path of realization, all those ritualistic worship, ritualistic mode of worship, that is a necessity. It is a must. You must start. Those are all the initial things. Once you cross over that path, then there is no need for any ritualistic worship. Then there is no need for sandhya, there is no need for arati, there is no need for aratrika. Then you are merged in the Brahman. Once you attain that enlightenment, then who will worship whom? So Sri Ramakrishna says all these ritualistic worship, the puja and the upasana, these are all for the initial stages of this journey. Once you are through with it, you don't need. Later, one does not need the rituals of formal worship or to follow the injunctions as prescribed in the scriptures. Then one need not follow all these things. That do japa, do sandhya, morning, afternoon, evening, do the worship, do the aratrika. All these injunctions, they become immaterial once you attain to certain level of God realization. Then the Brahmos, they conduct their evening service. The preacher is giving they are reciting from Upanishads, and they also sing some Brahmo songs. And then the preacher comes to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is always fond of talking to these preachers, the so-called, they are the people who have attained the knowledge, who are walking on the path of jnana. So Sri Ramakrishna starts talking to the teacher on the topic of the formless and God with form and formless aspect of the God. So Sri Ramakrishna says, well, it seems to me that both the formless deity and God with form are real. Because just a while back there was discussion on the formless aspect of the God. And also on how, whether one should worship the God with form. One should worship the clay image. That is what the Brahmo devotee had asked him. And he said, you people are your followers of formless aspect of the God. Please continue. So to this preacher who had sung the songs of Brahmo Samaj, indicating the formless nature of the ultimate reality. So Sri Ramakrishna now tells him that as far as my thinking is concerned, as far as I am concerned, I consider both to be true. That both the formless deity and God with form are real. What is your opinion? And then the preacher also concurs with what Sri Ramakrishna has said. But the preacher is a believer of formless aspect. So the preacher's reply is, sir, I compare the formless God to the electric current, which is not seen, but which is not seen with the eyes, but which can be felt. Now, electric current we can't see, but that doesn't mean electric current doesn't exist. You get a shock when you touch that electric current. So that tells you, oh yes, electricity is there, although you cannot see it with your eyes. And then, this is what the preacher has to tell Sri Ramakrishna, that although the God is formless, God does exist in that formless aspect too. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, both are true. God as a formless aspect and God with form, both are true. God with form is as real as God without form. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, do you know what describing God as being formless only is like? You don't say God is only formless. You accept the fact that God is formless as well as with form. And do you know, if you are insisting that God is only formless, what does that saying indicate? Sri Ramakrishna says, it is like a man's playing only a monotone on his flute. though it has 7 holes. The flute, those who are aware of that lovely instrument, Sri Krishna's most favorite instrument, whenever he used to play the flute, all the gopis and they used to just get into that different divine mood. All the musical notations that Sri Krishna used to play on the flute. All, not only gopis, even the animals in the Vrindavan, they used to get into that divine ecstatic mood. So Sri Ramakrishna says, saying only God without form is true is like playing a monotonous sound from that flute, which has in fact 7 holes to give you the 7 notes, sa re ga ma pa dha ni. But this person, he blocks all the other 6 holes, and only through 1 hole he keeps on playing the flute in a monotonous note. Sri Ramakrishna says the flute is composed of comprising of so many different tunes. There are 7 holes on the flute. You enjoy your rhythm. You enjoy all those beautiful rhythmic notes, and enjoy the music which you can create from the. Don't play a monotonous note, Sri Ramakrishna says. But on the same instrument, another man plays different melodies with all those 7 holes. How many ragas you can play on the flute? Not just monotonous. So Sri Ramakrishna says, don't think God with formless aspect of the God is only true. God can be so many forms. In fact, the kind of melodies that one can play with the flute. And then Sri Ramakrishna says that likewise, in how many ways the believers in personal God enjoy Him. They have the grand opportunity to enjoy worshipping the God as Krishna, as Rama, as Kali, as the Durga. They have so many options available to become a devotee of all those deities. And then they enjoy in how many ways, through many different attitudes. Through many attitudes, they enjoy worshipping the deity. And then Sri Ramakrishna talks about the Panchabhava, the 5 attitudes that are prescribed in the path of bhakti. The Vatsalya Bhav, the Dasya Bhav, the Sakhya Bhav, Madhura Bhav. So Sri Ramakrishna says the attitude of a servant, the attitude of a friend, the attitude of a mother, the attitude of a husband, or the attitude of a lover. So Sri Ramakrishna says these are all the possible avenues that devotees of the God with form aspect they have at their disposal. They can approach God as a servant. I am your servant, Dasya Bhav, like what Maruti, Hanuman had for Sri Ram. They can have Sakhya Bhav, like a friend, what Sri Rama was to Sri Krishna, what Arjuna was to Sri Krishna. They can have the Vatsalya Bhav, the parental attitude. And again, even in the Vatsalya Bhav, you can be a parent to the God, to the deity, or you can be child of the deity. You can be the parent of the deity like Kaushalya, like Yashoda. Or you can be the child of the deity like Sri Ramakrishna himself. He was the child of the Divine Mother. Or you can even have the attitude of a lover. What Radhika and Krishna they had. They were truly tuned with one another. Radhika was, through and through, everywhere she found nothing but Krishna. So these are all the different kind of avenues available for the devotees who worship the deities. They have got the best kind of opportunity. As you wish, you will start loving the God. As you wish, you start worshipping the deity. Whether it is the Krishna, whether it is Rama, whether it is Durga, whether it is Kali, whichever deity you want to worship, worship with these Panchabhavas. So Sri Ramakrishna gives in a gist that don't think that only God without form is true. God with form is also true. God without form is also equally true. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, you see, the thing is somehow or other to get into the lake of nectar of immortality. Your objective is you have to get into that nectar of immortality. You have to get over the repeated cycles of birth and death. And for that, there are different avenues. And as he further says, suppose one person gets into it by propitiating the deity with hymns and worship, or you are pushed into it. You may jump into that lake of immortality by worshipping, singing the glories of the God, by chanting the name of the God, by the performing kirtan and bhajan and all this singing. You can enter that lake of immortality, the lake of Satchidananda. Or if you are forced into it, somebody pushes you into that lake of immortality, the effect is going to be the same. If you willingly enter or somebody pushes you, you are going to become immortal. If somebody is pushing you in the lake or you are jumping on your own, you are going to get wet. You are going to become immortal. So whichever way it happens, let it happen. If you believe in formless aspect, continue with that. If you believe in God with form, continue with that. And remember always that both the paths are true. You can worship the formless God, or you can also worship God with form. The result will be the same. Both of you will certainly become immortal. It is not that only the person, only the devotee who is worshipping the formless aspect becomes immortal. No. Even the devotee who worships the deities, who loves the deities in the Panchabhava that are available at his resource, as a parent, as a child, as a servant, as a friend, as a spouse, as a lover, you get into that state of immortality. You cross over the cycles of repeated births and death. So Sri Ramakrishna teaching through the preacher, through talking to preacher, teaching us that both aspects, both the paths of worshipping God with form and the formless God, they are equally true and both lead to immortality. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Maha, Jai Swami.